Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Joking Dolphin Gaming Podcast. I'm Mark, and as always, I'm joined by Matthew.
Morning.
And Nathan.
Hello.
How are we, chaps?
Hungover. It hurts slightly, but I'm raring to go.
Were you celebrating something last night?
I was celebrating the weekend. That's what we're celebrating.
Yeah, that's as good as reason.
Good enough reason. Oh, yeah. I'll take it.
Shall we get straight into the news?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it.
Did anybody see the PS5 teardown video that Sony put out? It was really quite fascinating.
I didn't watch it, but I saw the pictures of the whole system essentially in all of its parts. That was quite
So basically, they had the VP Mechanical Design Department's Hardware Design Division of Sony International. What's it called? Sony Interactive. That's the one. The bloke's name was Yasuhiro Utore. Basically, he just sat in a room with a screwdriver and the PS5 and just disassembled it, basically, and then separated it all out into its own individual components. So we learned a few things from it. I mean, some things we already knew. But, so it's 104 millimeters wide, 390 millimeters high, and 260 millimeters deep. So big boy, confirmed.
Big boy.
It's almost 10 centimeters bigger than the Xbox.
Wow.
Jesus.
I think that's going to cause a bit of trouble with my entertainment stand. So it might be that I have to have it on the outside.
Because I was going to have this horizontally, but I think I might have to have it vertically now because it's going to take up a lot of space otherwise.
Yeah.
If I can get my hands on it, that's
maybe one day, 2022.
Yeah. So it's got two front USB ports, a Type A and a Type C. On the rear, it has two Type A USB ports, a LAN port, HDMI output, and the AC power in. Now, the two rows on the front that you see where the blue lights are, basically, they're air vents. So that's where the air will get sucked in. And the entire rear side of it is an exhaust port.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah. Cool. Get rid of all that hot air. The base of it, the stand, is held onto it by a screw. And you can actually, when you turn it sideways, you have to unscrew the PS5 from the base. And then you can actually store that screw inside the base.
I saw that, yeah.
Well, that's good then, yeah. Because I can imagine people will get that lost quite easily. So.
But it's also got like a little plug, hasn't it? Like you take out the base, and then you can plug the hole on the bottom of the PS5 just to make it aesthetically look better. That's
Not leaking a hole.
And then you twist the base, and then you clip it onto the. Well, it's a side, but because of the way it is, it sort of bends underneath the PS5, and you clip it onto. It's got a set of logos, and that tells you where to clip it on, and then you can just put it sideways, and it looks nice. It looks good. But as I say, I'm gonna have to have it vertically now for space-saving reasons.
Yeah, that's it.
And then the guy took a screw to it and just started disassembling it, basically. So it was finally well, they might have confirmed it earlier, but remember the leak a few months ago where they thought the side plates could be taken off? That was confirmed in the video.
Okay,
so basically,
cool.
you pull the corner where the PlayStation logo is, you pull it up, and then you just slide the plates off.
Yeah.
And I was glad to notice that this was the disc version, and you could take both sides off.
Oh, that's great. Fantastic.
Oh, good.
Because I thought that might have only applied to the digital version. You could do this.
Yeah.
So that's confirmed. So hopefully we might be able to get some custom ones. Get for disc versions.
I'll be excited to see what they decide to do with that, because you can imagine a lot of games are going to have special editions that are going to have custom faceplates you can put onto your console, which is going to be really cool.
Yeah. So they intentionally designed it so you can easily take them off. What it's got is it's actually got two dust catcher holes.
Okay.
There's two holes.
I heard about that.
Do you empty them periodically? Do we know?
Well, apparently you can stick a vacuum on it.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's great. Because currently, if I do need to get the dust out of my console, I'm just there with the can of air just blowing into it, open
Yeah.
the vest. But it's nice to know that there's something specific for that. So that's good.
Yeah. So near the top it has like a massive fan, and it intakes air from both sides, which is another reason I'm guessing I probably should have it vertically as well, because then at least it's getting an equal amount of air from both sides. So
That's the thing.
it's a
Like,
massive
how
fan
would
as well.
how would the dust catcher work if it was on its side? Because obviously one would then be in the air, not really catching dust with it.
Once it suck it into from the
I
fan.
suppose all of it would go into like the bottom hole, wouldn't it?
I don't know. You're asking me technical questions. I don't know.
Well, we've not
I
got
don't
hands
know
on it yet, so
Come on,
I
Mark.
suppose
You're
we'll find out.
technical man on a PS5.
Yeah, you're the technical correspondent for PlayStation. Come on,
Yeah.
mate.
I do like the idea of it seems really simple to be able to do it, to take those plates off and they just whack a vacuum on it, get rid, slide it back on, job done.
Well, you can imagine after years of use, that kills a lot of consoles. And that don't really need to die, to be honest.
I mean,
just because the fans all plugged up and
we can often hear Matt's PS4 whirring in the background. Sometimes I can't wait.
Even on games like FIFA that shouldn't really take that much. Mine's the same though, to be honest. I think it might be something with the pros. It just absolutely, it just canes it and decides to go off like a helicopter.
Heatsink. I can't get to the heatsink. I did open my probe once, but only the top plate. And like got the dust off there and managed to. I think I got to the fan. I think I might have got to the fan and tried to do something weird, but there's that heatsink.
The fan is huge in the PS5, so hopefully that's gonna.
How big is it? Is it
big fan?
Give us like with your hands. Show us how big it is.
With your hands. This could be
about that big, at least. Don't know if you can see. Probably about as wide as this.
Would you say about 8 inch? Well, about 6 inches.
Yeah, but it's about that thick, something like that.
Oh, my neck, it's a beast.
Yeah, so hopefully that's going to help a lot. But the most, but it's also got a. I don't understand the jargon of this, but it's an M.2 interface with PCIe 4.0 space for future storage expansion. So basically, it's like a hole where you put
another hard drive.
I think that's what they was trying to say.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it's not plugging into the back like you do with your current one. I think you have to put it inside it. I don't know. Something like that. That's what they suggested.
I mean, if it's easy to get to when you remove the face plates, then that's perfectly fine for me.
Yeah. But the most intriguing part of it I found was the liquid metal cooling system. So basically, it's got a liquid metal bit. Well, it's not very big. It's only about that big. Just on the middle of the circuit board or what? I don't know all the technicalities of it. But apparently, it's been in development for 2 years to help with the cooling thing. But that's quite interesting.
I think that's that'd be for like the CPU, like the processor. Like I saw a little video on it, and it looks really fascinating. I was really intrigued by it. I
just hope this is just like a test run. I hope it's better be well put through its paces.
After a month of like PS5s coming out, it's like we find that liquid leaks through and it destroys the whole console.
Yeah, it starts leaking through your entertainment stand and burning all your other consoles. Says the Xbox One.
Yeah, so basically that was basically the most interesting parts of it. To be honest. All the rest was just technical jargon that I just didn't understand. There was a lot of words and letters, but it all looks fascinating.
It all sounds really encouraging. I like what they've done with the dust capture stuff, and it sounds like they put a lot into the cooling of the console, which is always a bit of a question mark as to how that's going to work from generation to generation. Because with the PS3 and Xbox 360 in particular, we had tons of cooling issues with that caused the yellow light of death on the PS3 and the red ring of death on the Xbox. So it's nice to see that they're still taking steps to mitigate hardware failure. So it can only be a positive.
Well, that's all I can say really about that. But it was just a fascinating video, just watching someone just rip apart one of the new consoles. I'm just thinking, well, I could have had that.
Send it to me.
Avoiding warranty now.
Yeah, that's it.
But that's not the only thing PS5 did, was it?
Nope.
It wasn't. No.
So they finally revealed the UI.
The user interface.
Or UE,
User
they kept saying it,
experience.
or the UX. They kept. I've heard all three of them mentioned. What did you think to this then?
I liked it. I thought it looked really clean. It kept the immersion within the game, which is the thing that I liked. So whether a chat invitation came up while you're in game, you could basically click yes to accept that, and you can just go on and play your game. I think it looks a lot nicer and it's not as intrusive because it's just the draw that comes up along the bottom. And it's got those cards now, which are quite interesting, which I'm sure we'll get into. But on first glance, I just think it looks really clean and it's a real step up on what we've got currently with the PS4.
Yeah. I think this is probably PlayStation's best looking, I suppose, kind of dashboard, if for lack of a better term. It just looks. I think, like Nathan said, it just looks really, really clean. Nothing too messy, and then be able to have the notifications as well, kind of come up into a corner of the screen, and without leaving the game, being able to, whether you want to accept going into a party, a voice chat, whether you want to be invited to another game or not. I think that's a really clever thing that it did. That I think it is something that Xbox kind of already did in one way for Xbox One, but it's there's no such of a bad thing of stealing from a competitor if it's beneficial to the user. Yeah. So that's good. I think I like as well. I think one of the things I really liked was some of these, as they're called, cards. There's one that we call like activities, where it's essentially, it shows you kind of a progress of, I don't know if it was necessarily just progress for a level or progress for a trophy.
That suggested level to me, what they were showing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it was more the level rather than actual trophy. But so like activating these cards, you can see sort of the objectives that you need to do to complete that level, and then clicking on one of these objectives give you like hints on what you need to do for that objective, and you're able to see like a video of like what you need to do to complete the objective, and then to be able to have that in, like, I think they call like a picture-in-picture mode, so you can play the game while seeing the hint or having it attached to either side. I think that's really good, and it was it's something that Xbox tried when they brought the Xbox One out with the snap feature, but I don't think the console really had the power to be able to kind of pull both off. I know people didn't really like it when it first came out because it was kind of difficult to use. But it's just, I don't know whether that's an insight that Microsoft saw the future just a few years earlier and tried to pull off the impossible.
Yeah,
but it's a really nice feature. I think will go a long way into helping the user experience and stuff.
Yeah, just a couple of points on that feature. One thing that I really liked is it tells you how long it's going to take to complete that particular task. Because, for example, if I'm playing a game, I'm on my lunch, for example, and I've only got 20 minutes left, it's nice for me to be able to see, right, it looks like this is going to take 10 minutes to finish. I can do that and then relax for a bit and then start working again, for example. So I like that how long it's going to take you roughly to complete it. Also, in terms of the hint stuff, it's either going to be a walkthrough, as Matt said, or a video. That's only available to PS Plus members, so that's just something to watch out for.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, I really liked the picture-in-picture stuff that they did with the hints, as you said, and also with the watching your friends play other games. So, for example, if I'm playing FIFA or something, I could have you playing Resident Evil in the corner. I could watch your gameplay on that. So I thought that was really cool.
I have to say, I'm slightly less positive about it than you two.
Okay.
What did you not like about it?
I don't think it was as clean as you're saying, to be quite honest. I found it quite clunky looking. I thought there was too much going on.
What, with all the different cards?
Yeah, all the cards, all the icons at the top. It's just like, you know, they have activities, but these activities seem to be like a broad perspective of different things.
Mm.
And I really don't like, this is what I hated about the current one, is that I don't like things that move on their own. I don't like icons that shift themselves. So, like, it puts the most recent things at the front.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. I want to put what I want specifically somewhere, so I know exactly where it is. I don't want things to jump around.
I mean, it might be there's a feature to do that, potentially, when we get our hands on it. You might be able to lock it to what you want it to be.
Mm.
But I also think about, in terms of these activities for games, that's going to take a lot of effort on developers' parts to input them into their games.
Yeah.
Because that's only going to be a PS5 thing. And is this only going to be like really like the first party stuff? I mean, Sackboy. Of course you can have this stuff in it if they. But what about all the other games? I think it might be quite a redundant feature a lot of times.
I think they did make a mention that this was like, it's a thing that if the developer wants to do it, you know, they can do it. But I don't think it's anything that's forced upon the developer.
Yeah.
I think for sure though it will be like first party stuff will definitely have it.
Yeah, they did say some of the PS4 games might have it again if the developer wants to do that. Another thing that I liked actually was the way that they split up the gaming stuff with the media stuff and didn't have it all together. So in the UI for the PS5, you've got a game section and then you got the media section, which is quite good because I don't really use my PlayStation for media as such. I watch Twitch every now and again, but it's a gaming machine first.
Yeah.
The first instance, yeah.
Mm. Well, they're already split up on PS4, aren't they?
I don't know. All I know is when I flick through, I do get like Twitch and YouTube and stuff in the row of things that I try and get to. So.
Okay.
I just whack everything in folders,
and
I just want that.
We're not all as neat as you, Mark. Some of us like the chaos.
It's just I hate the chaos.
I've got folders.
Does my head in.
I've got folders. Yeah, they are quite useful.
So all my games are in one folder in alphabetical order, and I've put them there, so I know where every game is.
Yeah,
I hate them. I hate having games on the main screen. I hate it. You never know where they are.
I've gone like one further than you, and I've kind of split my games up to like whether they're disc, not genre. If they're on disc, digital. If they're digital, I've even got like if they're VR or free to play games.
Yeah, I've got my VR separate.
Yeah, but I've done all that, and then I've also got them all in alphabetical as well. Just makes it nice.
But what about if you forget if it's disc or digital? You go, oh, I'm going to go into the other folder.
No, I know if my game is disc or digital. Don't be silly.
Fair enough. The amount of games you might have, it's probably tons of.
Well, I've got about. I think I've got over 3. Yeah, too many. 300. I know I've got at least over 300 games recorded.
So I forgot to mention that when you boot this up from standby and it's got the game in the background.
Yeah.
So that's nice. So you can get straight into the action.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that I think Xbox did really well that PlayStation didn't. And it's nice that they brought that in to the PS5. Because when you boot it, you're always going to go to the home screen and then have to load into the game. But it's nice that it's just there for you so you can continue from where you left off.
Yeah. And these activities that you can do, that you can actually click them and it takes you to that point in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think about. I don't know what to think about that. I
mean, it's good in terms of saving time because if it'll tell you how long you need to do that activity.
Well, I guess for completionists, yeah, that makes sense. But I don't want that stuff to be popping up before I've reached the end of the game.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Just think it'll make it a bit easy. Just going from point to point to point.
Yeah.
No, I think what Mark might be getting on is that you won't want the activity to pop up if you haven't like unlocked the level. It's like somehow you can skip like locking it.
Unless it only pops up when.
From what I could see, from what I gathered, it was when you completed the level, you could go back and do these things that you'd not done before.
If that is the case, then yeah, that's all right, I guess.
We'll have to see how it's implemented, won't we?
But I would only do this stuff for trophies. I wouldn't do it for in-game objectives.
This is what I thought it might have been about. Like, if it was for a trophy, then I think it's actually a really useful feature to be able to kind of show you this is what you need to do to get this trophy, rather than being able to like this is what you do to complete the game.
Yeah, but nothing in there suggested trophies, did it? Not for what we saw.
No, I think I mean, unless the progress is based on like this is the amount of progress to get to the trophy, but I don't know.
Well, maybe, but I don't know.
I wasn't sure.
They weren't clear on it.
No.
And the share screen, the picture-in-picture of seeing someone else's game.
Oh yeah.
Personally, that doesn't interest me in the slightest. I would never use that for anything. Because maybe it's just me, but I don't see the point of playing a game and then suddenly having someone else's gameplay just in the corner randomly. I don't see the point of it. But
I mean, maybe
some people want it, but I just don't get it.
Yeah. I like it in terms of the walkthrough stuff. I think that'll be really.
Oh yeah, that stuff. But I mean, like watching someone else's game.
Watching someone else's stream.
Yeah,
it's just like I've been playing a game. Why would I want to? Why would I want to like fill my screen with someone else's gameplay?
Yeah. Well, I'd do it. For example, if I'm playing the PS5 version of Skyrim that they'll inevitably bring out, and I'm traversing somewhere, it does take a long time to get to certain places, and you're just walking. So it might be at that point I'll watch somebody stream for 5 to 10 minutes or something.
I guess, for example, if I'm playing Red Dead 2, though, I could just whack it in cinematic mode for that, couldn't I? As I'm travelling across the map, and then I guess I can watch something.
Watch something while you travel?
Yeah, I guess that sort of makes sense. But I can't see me using that very much, really. But I guess it's a nice thing.
It's there, isn't it? So, yeah.
So screenshots of video can be captured up to 4K. So that's good.
Yeah.
It was the same for video as well, wasn't it?
But there was an interesting thing that I noticed that when you screenshot or anything, obviously you can upload it to social medias, etc. Also, you can put it into your groups chat, can't you?
Yeah, that was really cool.
But there was an interesting part where it said that if your friends haven't reached that particular part in the game, it would give them a spoiler warning.
Yeah, I really like that.
That's good. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's based on the developers.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder how they'll figure out what's classed as a spoiler in a screenshot.
They might do it in like achievements on trophies. So if you've not got to like a certain point in the game that gives you a certain trophy, and it can somehow scan that image to say that you're past that point. I don't know, but I think they'll do it. They know what they're doing.
They've got fancy
magic
people.
Yeah, they've got really clever developers, much cleverer than we are, that can do stuff like that. One thing I did notice actually in terms of the screenshot stuff is that you could make small edits to them before they're uploaded. They didn't really highlight what the edits were.
Yeah,
but I think that's quite nice. And so you can make little tweaks to it before you upload it to Twitter or wherever you want that to go.
So overall, I have to wait until I get it in my hands, really. What did you think to the store being integrated onto the main? It's not onto the main menu. It's not its own app now, is it?
Good.
You think it's good, do you?
Yeah, because I think the store. Well, it's a lot better now, but when it first came out, it was a pain to install. I'm telling you now, it was really slow. Sometimes it won't even open. You could get frozen on it. It's just horrible.
I've just thought of something actually. Speech, text to speech, speech to text. That's the one. That's That's going to be a game changer for me because I hate typing on the PS4. Like I know
you
you've
love
got,
talking.
we've got the QWERTY keyboards, and you can do that, or you can use the touchpad, which is no faster for me, to be honest, to type. But yeah, I think the speech to text is really good because you could just say whatever you want to look for in the store, for example, or whatever you're doing.
If it can recognise your voice very well.
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
Well, yeah, there's that.
I'm sure they got Yorkshire mode.
Yorkshire.
Oh, aye. Well, that's all I've got on that, on the UI, UX, whatever you want to call it.
I think one other thing that I spotted is that I don't know if they showed it off how you can get to it from, I suppose, the cards that come up. But they did make a mention that if you turn on your PS5 from a powered off state, you'd go straight into the PlayStation 5 home screen.
Yeah.
So you get, you'd be able to see all the, I suppose, your dashboard and that they've got from there. I thought that looked good, but again, some of those features, like, you go into a game, it's similar, I think, to PS4 when you go into a game and it shows you kind of the information of the game, DLC, what other people are playing, like the latest news. I don't think I ever really used that feature on PS4, so I'm not sure what to think of it on PS5 again. Don't know if anyone had thoughts on that, but that was a thing that I thought that was a bit okay.
Yeah, it was a bit. It's there for me. It's not really.
It's just there. Yeah. Well, that's.
I think I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Well, that's all my thoughts on the UI. I think it's.
There's no suggestion about things like themes, though, were there? Things like that. I think it left a lot of questions unanswered. Well, that's been Sony's entire marketing strategy, really, hasn't it? Always having questions unanswered.
Give you just enough information to start asking yourself these questions.
Because it just had like some floaty particle bits, didn't it? It was like the opening of Last of Us, wasn't it?
Yeah, the spores.
Yeah. But I'd like to see what other things they've got. I'm sure they'll come on down the line. I just hope they're a lot more.
It's a teaser. The Last of Us Part 3 is dropping on launch. Surprising us.
Wow. But there you go. Heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, it's official.
Inside
news from Nathan.
Anyone got any other news?
Yeah, so if there's any PS3, PSP, or Vita fans out there, you might be a bit upset about this one. So the games of those three platforms are going to be removed from the website and mobile apps for PlayStation. So that's going to be effective as of the 19th of October on the website and the 28th of October on mobile. So yeah, get them while you can if you do download your games via those platforms, because they're not going to be there for very much longer, unfortunately. But I think PlayStation looking to the future now, and the PS3, it's 2 generations old at this stage. The PSP, came out around the same time as the PS3, and then the Vita, let's face it, it flopped. It didn't do very well. I mean, personally, I love it, but I know a lot of people didn't that much. But yeah, so that's happening.
Well, importantly to just add to that as well is you can still, I believe, you still access those games on the PS3 store and the PS4 store. I don't think they're actually going away on the consoles. It's just via the web app and the mobile app.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So not gone just yet. Just a little bit harder to actually get them.
Need all that web room to plug all the PS5 gear.
Yeah,
that's it, definitely.
Save on that web space.
Yep. Got any other news, Nathan?
Yeah. So there was actually a Dreamcast Mini teased.
I heard about this.
Yeah. So there was an interview with the Japanese magazine Famitsu, and Sega's Mini chief. I'm probably going to butcher this. Yusuke Okunari, he came out and said, I quote, I think for the next one, we might go with a concept close to the Mega Drive Mini. If I have to say names, it could be the SG-1000 Mini or the Dreamcast Mini. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, the SG-1000 was a console that came out in Japan, and it was the precursor to the Master System. So hardly anybody knows what that is. So I don't think it's going to be the SG-1000 Mini. So I think it's going to be the Dreamcast Mini. And for me, I think that'll be a fantastic mini console because you've got classic games like Virtua Tennis, Crazy Taxi, Soul Calibur, Sonic Adventure, the original Shenmue 1 and 2 with the old style graphics, Jet Set Radio, Skies of Arcadia, Power Stone, House of the Dead 2, and many more. I'd personally want to see Seaman on there. It's basically a creature that's got the voice of Leonard Nimoy, and it cusses you quite a bit. And you use the microphone addition to the Dreamcast control to speak to him. So that's quite a funny game. I doubt they'll do that one, but yeah, I'd be really up for a Dreamcast Mini because I think, let's face it, the PS2 killed it, and it killed Sega in the console market. It was like the final nail in the coffin, I think, after the Saturn flopped as much as it did, and before that, the 32X and the
CD.
What was it? Yeah, the CD add-on to the Mega Drive. So, but I think there were some great games on there. A lot of them was actually remade and ported across to the Xbox because Sega and Microsoft had quite a close relationship. But I'd be happy to happy for a Dreamcast Mini if they got like the top 10, 15 games.
Yeah. If the games are right, I think it'd be great.
Because
That list you've just come out with is really good.
Yeah, I think
some top games there.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was the last kind of era for, not the last era, but one of the last times that arcade games were really fantastic for me anyway. Like the late 90s, early 2000s, before everything just became console centric.
Yeah.
I've got another little bit of news. This might have come out ages ago, but it's only just come onto my radar. But Final Fantasy VIII is getting a remaster on PS4, and that's going to be out on the 4th of December. Now, I'm not really into my Final Fantasy that much, but my wife is, and I think I'll be getting it for a Christmas present because she loves Final Fantasy VIII. And I found it for £14.85 at Simply Games, so I think that's a pretty good price for the Final Fantasy VIII remaster. So yeah, just to put that out there.
Well, that's the Christmas surprise spoiled then, isn't it?
Sorry?
That's the Christmas surprise spoiled then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think she listens, to be honest. So.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
The one episode she does listen to.
Yeah, she probably will. She's like, I know it now, Nathan. You always do this. Yeah. Anyway, if we didn't have enough reasons to play games, and there was recently a study that says gaming as a child might make you smarter in later life. So
has that worked with us? Oh
yeah, we're brainiacs, aren't we? Loving life, living the dream.
Yeah, sure.
Well, on a serious note, yeah, because I think parents, they get this idea about games that's just like kids wasting their times. But there's actually a lot into it. I mean, they can educate. It improves hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, I'll outline what the study showed. So it was only like a small study pool. So there's only 27 people under the age of 40 that they studied, and it was published by My Modern Met, and they said that it produces lasting cognitive advantages, in particular puzzle-solving techniques critical to gaming success, may help improve 3D visualization skills, quick thinking, and memory. So I think we can all agree with that, because you've got to use your memory for certain games just to know what your inventory is and what you've got to be able to solve tasks. So I'm behind that, definitely.
Yeah. Whoop for gaming.
That's it. Look at me now, Mum.
Look what we've become.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ah.
And that's my last bit of news.
Awesome. Right. I've just got 2 pieces of news. Firstly, whether this is unfortunate or not, but I think this is more of a case of maybe shooting themselves in their own foot. Amazon has announced that they've cancelled their MOBA game, Crucible, literally 5 months after launching it and 4 months after taking it off its own store.
Hang on. 5 months after launch, 4 months after taking it off its own store, so it was there for a month.
Pretty much.
Wow.
And
Successful.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure how much it was that it cost them to develop this game, but I heard it was quite a bit of money. But there was just like the first time I heard of the game itself was literally when I saw the news of like they'd taken it off from release, from being able to buy it. I was like, oh, okay. Like, what was this game then? Like, it just sounded like they had like zero marketing strategy for it. And
That's what I was about to say. They must have not marketed it that well. If it being taken off the store got more attention than it when it launched.
well, that's it. It was like you think of like the modern sort of marketing now seems to be really towards like a combination of Twitter and getting Twitch like influencers, as they like to call them, to like play the game, so that it gets more eyes on them, and and that's your marketing done. Like you look at stuff like Fall Guys, probably got massive due to social media and obviously making it free for the PlayStation Plus month, and it was in September. It was September, wasn't it? It was August or September, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
That's the same for Rocket League. That was pretty much the same, and look how massive that game is now. Going free to play, it's got like over 1 million players concurrently playing it now, so that's absolutely massive. And then some recent is like a game called Among Us. Like if you've never heard of it, it was actually released I think like a year or 2 ago, but because of Twitch streamers suddenly playing it, now suddenly that's the most massive game on Twitch. And it's just like it just boggles me how, for how big Amazon is, and like they're obviously one of the biggest companies in the world now, to not have any marketing for like your first game and to release it how it was is shocking to me.
Well, Luna's going to be a success for them if they carry on like this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at least Luna's going to release it with more games than what Stadia did, so it's got something going for it.
Yeah, it's got games.
It's got games. So.
Yeah, that's very helpful for a gaming service. Some actual games.
The last piece of news is probably going to sound like I'm repeating myself over the last 2 to 3 podcasts again, because along with a CGI series, along with a live action series that are going to be on Netflix, they've made an announcement that they're going to be rebooting the Resident Evil films.
Oh my word!
All of the Resident
Evil. Oh dear! Just stop, please.
He's already dead.
Stop being. Now this thing going to be made by Netflix, so it's separate from Netflix. It's actually going to be produced by, I think it's Constantine Films, who helped did the original Resident Evil series of films. That was by Paul W.S. Anderson. I didn't unfortunately pick up who it is that was going to develop this next one. If I can,
it's gonna be something good.
If I can quickly
Look at Uwe Ball, is it?
I'll just quickly pull up the article. So it's in pre-production. It's being handled by Constantine Film. And it's in collaboration with writer director Joannes Roberts? I probably butchered that first name. Apparently, he previously directed 47 Meters Down. Meters Down, yeah. I don't know if that's good. Don't know if that's bad.
I have no. Right, let's just look over his filmography. 47
I
meters
don't know what
down.
he's doing.
Is that the film where they
Uncaged.
go caving and then they get like
it's got
killed by
it's
these
got-
creatures?
Got sharks. No, you're thinking of the Descent.
Oh,
Not sure.
The other side of the door. Storage 24. I've
No, I
seen
heard
that.
it.
It's terrible.
Oh,
that bodes well.
that's good to hear.
Forest of the Damned, Dark Hunters, Hellbreeder. I can see why he's doing Resident Evil. Though.
Oh yeah, he seems to be a master of horror films. Well, say master.
Yeah, I was going to say it must be strong. Judging by
Not
this,
not
it's a
quite
strong word.
Giorgio Romero kind of level.
He's a director.
He's a director.
That's all I'm going to say.
As far as we know.
I can't see that going too well.
Well, that's the direction they're going with for the film. So, what they also did as well, they announced the cast for the film as well. So, who they've got playing is they've got, I think it's Kea Scodelario. I've probably absolutely butchered that.
She was in Skins, wasn't she? I think.
Probably. Apparently, it says she was in Maze Runner as well.
Yeah, I know who she is.
Yeah, you'll know all these people. I probably won't. So she's going to be playing Claire Redfield. Hannah John Kamen is going to be playing Jill Valentine. Apparently, she was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm not sure which character she played. Robbie Amell is playing Chris Redfield. Avon Joya. I'm probably absolutely butchered his name again. He was in Zombieland Double Tap, but he's going to be playing Leon S. Kennedy. And then we've got Tom Hopper is playing Albert Wesker, and Neil McDonough. I'm absolutely butchering these names.
I know him.
I do know him. I'm sure I've said his last name badly, but he's going to be playing William Birkin. So the last two are essentially going to be probably the antagonists for the film. It really does sound like they're actually combining just both the first and second game into like an original story adaptation of them. But I suppose we'll see once we get further ahead and they start releasing trailers for it, see how it looks.
The trivia here says Johan Roberts told Screenrant that the reboot would be super, super scary and more faithful to the games.
Not just super scary, but super, super scary. That's what you know.
Yep, super, super scary. Okay, well, that's a thing, I guess. Because we need more.
Evil.
Yeah, we need more Resident Evil. Well, anything really. Shall we have a question?
Yeah, let's do it.
Go for it.
Right. What game would you like to see be made into a film? See, what a segue that was.
Yeah.
Wow. I would like Resident Evil.
Do you want to kick us off with yours, Matt?
Right. Oh. I thought of a few answers to this, and then upon actually doing research, find out they're already in development. So I'm like, can't really go for them.
Dreams have already come true.
Yeah, I can't go for them because they're already technically making it. So I've had to try and come up with another one. I think that the first one that really kind of jumps out of my head. And I say this, I'm actually thinking on the fly. What's the first one that's going to jump into my head? Uncharted, probably. Oh, that's getting made. Damn it, yeah. Oh, this is going well.
Shall we move on to Mark while you have a think?
No. Legend of Zelda. I'll go with that. Legend of Zelda.
Any particular game or storyline?
Storyline. Ooh, there's quite a few different ones, is there?
Otherwise, it'd be a very, very long film.
Trying to think of one of like the origin films. Like, I probably the most popular one's gonna be like Ocarina of Time, because it's kind of an origin in a way. But that one would be cool. I think honestly, probably any of them, other than probably like the first like NES games, the original Nintendo games. I don't know if they'd make for very good.
Now, they're more dungeon crawler, aren't they, than story driven for me, I think.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Even something like I think visually probably Skyward Sword would probably look really cool to do. But yeah, I'd go for Zelda. What about you, Mark? Which one would you like to see?
I really, really struggled with this question. Because let's be honest, video games
just like me.
are in general crap.
Sonic the Hedgehog were all right.
That was the best one.
It was okay. Well,
Detective Pikachu.
I was going to say I thought you.
Yeah, Detective Pikachu.
That was technically based on the game, so
it was okay. But I'm not a Pikachu boy, am I?
No, you're Pikachu man.
Yeah, that's it. You've grown up.
So I ended up just thinking about what genre of film have we not seen in a long time. And the thing is, this isn't gamey. It's not like I could see this translating well if it became a film. But it's quite a recent game, and I love samurai films. So my idea was Ghost of Tsushima. I think that could make a really good film, actually. If they went back to the roots of like old samurai films like Akira Kurosawa, because they had the like the filter mode that you could use in the game, where you could make it black and white. And it felt really good, and I could see the whole plot of like the invasion of Tsushima Island, rallying against the Mongol army. I can see that working really well as a film. So, yeah, I'd go Ghost of Tsushima.
Who would you have as the lead?
Oh,
Ghost.
Don't know. You put me on the spot there. I'm going to look at famous Japanese actors, but I don't know.
Are you going to whitewash it?
What? No, not Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know who would have. Probably got to have Ken Watanabe in there somewhere. I don't know. Who
he's got to be there somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know who he'd play, but I'm sure he could play someone. Because he's great, you know. But I don't know. That's all I can say, really. Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost.
But I've really struggled with this question. That's the only game I could think of that I'd probably translate pretty decently if it went to a film.
So you've gone for like a game that its story translates better into the media rather than what you would like to see into a film.
Yeah, I mean
that makes sense.
I know when you say like a game to a film, we're thinking like something like original characters. Well, you know, like Pokemon. Obviously, Pokemon's like a creature, an original thing, a game character. Whereas Ghost of Tsushima is about like a real person.
Yeah.
And it seemed like Sonic the Hedgehog. Obviously, it's a hedgehog. So, but I can't think of any games that would go well to a film. I just don't like game films. I just don't think they work very well. I mean, saying that, I'd quite like to see a Metal Gear Solid, but that's been apparently in production for years.
Well, yeah.
Whether it's ever going to see the light of day, I don't know. But when you think about it, that is actually a film itself anyway. The games. So, will there be much point having that? I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. But yeah, I'm going to go with Ghost of Tsushima. I'd quite like to see a new samurai film, basically, because it's so long since I've seen one. So, I think it'd be good. Go on, Nick.
Cool.
What you got?
So for mine, what I'm going to do is explain the premise, and then if you can guess the game, including anybody that's listening, you get the most coveted thing that anybody could ever have. My respect. So
It's making it sound like we don't already have it.
Respect is earned. You've not earned it today. Not yet.
Oh, not today.
Anyway, right, I'll get into it. So, it's a dystopia where Germany won the war. It's set in the 1960s UK. It's got 3 characters crossing over. I'll name the characters just in case it helps. So we've got Arthur, Sally, and Ollie. There's also.
I'll let you finish because I think I know where you go.
And there's also some mind-altering drugs involved.
Yeah.
And it's We Happy Few. I think it'd make a pretty good film because, it's because of the way the 3 characters interact with each other. And as you move into playing with the next character, it unlocks more about what you play. Well, about the first character that you play with. So it kind of builds the picture as you play as the different characters. So that what they could do is do 3 different storylines in this dystopia 1960s. And I think it'd be cool because as the drug starts wearing off, you start to see things as they are, and it's not really as great, and it's a bit grim. And then when you take the drugs, everything's nice and smiley, and everybody's happy, and rainbows are everywhere. So I think that'd be quite a good aesthetic, and I think the story's also quite good because it's quite jokey and funny. The music's quite unique, and there's also some twists in there as well that I think it'd translate well to film. So yeah, that was mine. Initially, I did think about something like The Last of Us or GTA 5 maybe, but they're pretty much films anyway.
I think The Last of Us has been made into a series, is it not?
Yeah.
Or is that, yeah.
But yeah, that's mine. We Happy Few.
Can I quickly change my answer?
No, it's locked in now.
No. Okay.
Go on.
Go on.
I was thinking about how good the Portal series would be.
Oh, Portal. I don't see what you could do with it over 2 hours though. That'd make it.
I was going to say.
Film.
Well, maybe not as a film. Maybe as like a TV series. I think it could quite work.
I've seen some decent short films.
Mm.
In terms of Portal. But film, I don't know.
What's that? I think a lot of games translate better to being as a series rather than as a film because of how much kind of lore's really been built into them. Like look at something like Assassin's Creed. I haven't seen it, but I heard it didn't do very well. But I think they're already looking into making into a series instead. I think for something that has that much lore behind it,
I think it's less risk as well.
You could do less risk as well as a series because you could really get into like the actual backstory of like everything and just how complicated that story is. Like I don't think 2 hours is enough to really fill in the audience of like this is what our world is. You know, this is everything. It just sounded like they tried to shove in a lot and a bit too much. But yeah.
I think you only take things like The Witcher, don't you? So I think that's worked. I think that worked better as a TV series than if it had been a film.
Oh yeah,
it's based on the books, but everyone knows it as a game.
Yeah.
But, anyway, what we playing? Go on, Nate. Kick us off.
What we playing? I'm playing lots of things. Honestly, I recently installed Dreams. I don't know if anybody's played that, so it's there's tons of different experiences that people can make. So you can either go in and play games, or you can go in and start creating. I've not got into the creation aspect of it yet because, I've been too engrossed in the playing. Yeah, that's it. I've been dream surfing, living my best life. There's a few games that I've been playing that I've really enjoyed. So I've played a game called Ball World Adventure Part 1 and Part 2. And for anyone who's not played this, if you've played Marble Blast Ultra on the Xbox 360, it's similar to that. So you're like a marble trying to traverse different courses to get to the end. And I love anything like that. It's a little bit puzzly, and you've got to have fairly quick reaction times. Luckily, you get unlimited lives, so and you get to save points fairly. They're fairly close between each other, so going through that game, it's really, really fun. I played a game called Art Therapy. So basically, you get a baseball bat and you get dropped into an art gallery, and you get 3 minutes to destroy as much art as you possibly can, and rack up as much destruction as possible without getting caught by the security guards. Near the end of it, I was just smashing this big painting in, and I got caught, and I just ended up running off. So that was a really fun one. Now, moving on to something a little bit strange, a game called SpongeBob and the Attack of the Anime Girls. So all I can describe this as a
Sounds right down your alley.
A survival horror game, kind
This
of.
is
So
ultimate fancy. Yeah.
basically, anime girls have killed everybody in the SpongeBob world, and you play SpongeBob, and the second that you go over this line, it plays like Japanese hardcore, and the anime girls come after you with loads of guns and try and shoot you, and you've got to try and last the amount of time to win the game. I got to 8 seconds away from winning, and that's as close as I've got. So, yeah, if anybody wants something wild and weird, then give that one a go. I played a puzzle game called Kubrick. So you use the cubes and you can spin them around like Rubik's cubes, and you've got to platform your way to get off that cube onto the next cube. So that was quite an interesting game. And I played other games like Toilet Simulator. Basically, you can defecate in any way you can imagine, and that's quite weird. Just Pogo, Ethan Goes to Work, and loads of other things. So yeah, I've been really enjoying my dreams.
Have you played
Not my dreams.
Quest? Have you played the Quest for Cheese?
I've not.
I
No.
recommend that. So that's where you play Wallace from Wallace and Gromit.
Oh yeah.
And basically, you're going through a world of memes, pretty much. You'd love it.
It's right up my alley. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds perfect.
But there's like three or four parts to it. I think there's more than one of them. I would recommend that.
Oh,
but
cool.
it is amazing what some people make on that game, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Quite astonishing. I mean, I've neither got the creativity or patience to do anything on that.
Yeah.
The only thing that annoys me about that game is I don't like that user interface.
What, with moving the controllers to try and select
the panels
things?
and all that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like it to be a bit better, but apart from that, a very good game, really enjoyable.
I've not tried any of the VR stuff yet, so I might get into that at some point.
Neither have I. Yeah. But should be good.
Yeah.
Have you played the main story?
No,
it's like
I've not.
Art stream. Fair enough. Well, it's alright. But that's like the main campaign.
Yeah.
Anyway. Go on, carry on.
Cool. I've been playing Tetris DX. So it's basically Tetris but without the iconic music, and that's all. It's really weird. I got it because I recently bought Pokemon Gold, and I got a couple of games with it. I got Pong, which is Pong, but on the Game Boy Color, and that's just what it is. It's Pong. And I got a game called Tetris DX, and it's literally Tetris, and you can pick a few different songs to go in the background that aren't the Tetris song.
Oh, right up Mark's alley, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So if you don't like the Tetris music, Tetris DX might be for you on the original Game Boy.
So what's the DX sample?
Don't know. It just says Tetris DX.
Well,
I don't know what it stands for.
Maybe Deluxe?
It just
is.
Maybe. Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Deluxe, but without the music.
Yeah.
So actually taking something away.
And there's,
okay.
There's one more game that I've been playing, and I'll just I'll send you guys a picture of it right now. So, I've been talking about potentially getting into the Batman games. Well, I played my first Batman game. Check it out.
Oh.
So I've been playing Batman Returns on the Mega Drive.
Nice.
Awesome.
So yeah, my first foray into Batman. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Not quite what we were talking about, but it's a start, I guess.
It's a step in the right direction.
But,
yeah. It's quite a good little beat 'em up platformer game. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. Yeah.
If I could warn you on at least one Batman game not to play, do not get I think it's Batman and Robin on PlayStation.
Okay.
I don't know if Miles played this, but it was the most frustrating game as like a 10-year-old to play. I don't know why. It's got almost a open world aspect to it. If you can somehow manage imagine a PlayStation game back in those days having kind of an open world. You start off in the Batmobile having to drive over to a museum where Mr. Freeze is, but the fire mechanics are like really awkward. It's third person, but the camera's not easy to control either. I just got stuck because I beat up these bad guys and then just didn't know what to do next. I was like stuck in a room and there was just no indication of what to do. I would not recommend that one.
Fair enough. 20 years later, do you think 30-year-old Matt would have much more of a chance?
Well, he didn't have the internet at that point, so he'd probably look up tutorials to see what he was actually missing.
Yeah.
I don't. It could be interesting to go back to it, see how I feel. But
Yeah, banish the demons of the past.
yeah.
That's what I did when I got my PS1. I bought a load of old games that I didn't complete when I was younger, and I've been getting through them one by one, like destroying the demons. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, that's all I've been playing. What about you, Mark?
Right. Well,
Ooh.
I've been playing Assassin's Creed Origins. Now, hold up. I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking, you said you completed this last time.
Exactly.
Why are you still playing it? What the heck are you doing?
Fabrication, lies.
Yeah.
And I did. And I was just about to delete the game, and then I remembered something. Is that this game includes Discovery Tour mode.
Okay.
Oh yes, yeah.
Now, when the game was very first announced, this was something I was actually really looking forward to, because since I was younger, I've always been fascinated by Egyptology and learning about Egypt and that kind of thing. And I remembered this. Just like I was literally just about to delete the game, I was like, "Oh yeah, Discovery mode on it." So basically, all it does is it drops you in the open world. You've got free reign to do whatever you want, but there's no enemies and there's no missions or anything like that. It's just you can go about just looking around, and it's got like guided tours, like located all around. So there's quite a lot of them. There's about, off the top of my head, 60-ish tours, something like that. And they're all like varying in length. Some are like 20 minutes long, others are like 3 minutes. And each one's got like stations, so you just go from point to point, and then something happens in the world at each station, which illustrates, something that happened back in Egyptian times. But yeah, it's fascinating if you're into that sort of stuff, like I was. I mean, it won't be of interest to everyone, but it was great just learning about all the things, and it was also interesting seeing how accurate they'd made certain things, and because it also sometimes told you about like changes they'd made. Yeah. Because of things they weren't sure about, or like the Sphinx, they had to repaint the Sphinx in a certain fashion because they weren't able to tell exactly how it was originally because it's so weathered now and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fascinating. I'm looking forward to doing the one in Odyssey as well because I've got a bit of a fascination with Greek mythology as well. So I look forward to that. But I've done all the guided tours in that game in Origins, and I have now deleted the game. So it is done. It is now done. That was good.
Is that option just a post game thing, or
no? You can do it anytime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
just on the main menu. Yeah. But it just made sense to do it at the end of the game. But yeah, that was good. But it took longer than I thought. That doing all them took about 6-7 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's got like a fast travel, so you can fast travel between each tour.
Oh, that's good at least. You don't have to get on your camel and ride to each tour.
Yeah. And sometimes it kind of like where a tour ends, another one will be nearby, so you can just jump straight on that one.
Cool.
It's good. Because there's one where you're going through the middle of the Great Pyramid.
Oh yes, yeah.
And there's like, but they introduced like this very famous, I don't know, but this guy who he hypothesized a theory about what's inside the Great Pyramid, but you can't get inside it.
Yeah.
There's a certain part of the pyramid that we don't exactly know what's there, and someone hypothesized it, but they put it in the game, and basically it goes through that idea. But anyway, it's good. It's really good. But I would encourage it if you're into Egyptology. Try that. But now I've finished that big game, I've moved on to another Ubisoft big game, not Odyssey. I've started Watch Dogs 2.
Ooh,
nice.
Very nice.
Because I kind of liked the first one, but it was a bit. Well, I like the premise of it. You know, the whole
Yeah.
city under surveillance, interacting with all the gadgets and taking control of all electronics in the city and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it had a very dull protagonist in that one. He was really dull. And the
Yeah.
aesthetic was very grim and dark because it was set in like rainy Chicago, wasn't it? But this one's like very lively and upbeat. So this is a lot better because this one's set in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Marcus Holloway, who was a bit. He's a much more interesting protagonist.
That's good.
But yeah, I'm not too far into it. I've only played about 4 hours, something like that. But it's good. The only problem is it was annoying because moving off of Origins, it changed the control scheme of like the climbing and that kind of thing. So you know he does like the parkour. He can't in Watch Dogs you can't do all the climbing that you can in Origins.
Yeah.
You can jump over, vault over things and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to hold R2 for that as opposed to the X in Origins. So that kind of messed me up a bit. So I was like pressing all the wrong buttons, just like running into things, and it's just like, why aren't you jumping? Why can't you climb this stuff? Come on, you can hop over this fence. Get on with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the old school way of doing parkour in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Old enough to. So
this morning I played a bit more, and I was just doing I was go-kart racing. So yeah.
Nice.
I visited the Noodle headquarters. It's a rip-off of Google. So yeah. So you in the game you use Noodle maps. Good game. So far, it's a good game. But I played another. Finally, I played a small indie game called Coffee Talk. Have you heard of this? And basically, all Coffee Talk is you play a barista in a coffee shop, and you just listen. People just come into your shop and they just talk to you and talk to and each other. And that is literally all the game is. And occasionally you just make them a drink.
Okay.
But it's done like in a pixel art fashion. But it's set in a fictionalized version of Seattle where everyone it's like mixes of races. So there's like elves and orcs and mermaids all live in like a fictionalized version of Seattle. And all these patrons just come in and you just chat to them basically, and they all have like human problems. And there's just something really quite nice about it. I don't. Yeah. It's not going to be
slice of life bits.
It's not for everyone. But I just found it fascinating, just sitting there, just listening to them chatting to each other about problems that we all have. And it was I think it only came out this year, so a lot of it is like based around like current affairs and things like that, and things that will affect us all. There's like a young couple whose family, because both families come from different races, they don't like each other, and things like that. And there's like there's an alien who's come to Earth just to try and breed. So
right,
all right.
So, but yeah, you get these very odd characters coming into your shop, and you just chat to them, and every now and again they'll just ask you for a drink, and you just got to make them a drink, and that's it. That is all the game is.
What's the drink? What's the drink making process? Is it you click a button and then it automatically
does
it?
It's very simple. You just pick 3 ingredients, put them together. That's it. Okay. That's all it is. So,
okay.
But I really liked the game. It's not going to be for everyone, but just it was that simple. I've got a fascination with games where you tend to do mundane things. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like Office Simulator and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Job
like,
simulator.
yeah, job simulator. Still maintaining.
Spend enough time at work without doing it in games, but yeah.
Yeah, but job simulator is more entertaining. It's got comedic aspects to it. I think other things where you're seemingly doing something mundane, but there's like you come across interesting people. They've added some sort of interesting dynamic to it, like Papers, Please.
Oh, Papers, Please.
Well, you basically you just sat in just stamping documents,
in
essence, aren't you? But actually, it's a lot better than that. But yeah, Coffee Talk. It lasts about 3-4 hours.
Okay.
It takes place over 2 weeks.
What platform is it on?
I played it on PS4.
Okay.
It's got a very simple pixel art animated style to it. But yeah, I liked that. Anyway, that's all I've been playing. So Matt, what's yours?
Right. So I mean, outside of the usual, I haven't been playing that much really. I started a new career on Football Manager 2020 this weekend, funny enough. I want you to guess the team that I probably picked. So I don't think you will.
Sunderland.
Ashwood City.
Right. Well, Nathan's gonna get murdered. No, certainly not Sunderland.
Sheffield Wednesday.
Torquay United.
No to Mark. Yes to Nathan.
Get in.
What?
Got it right.
I decided to make Sheffield Wednesday.
Right, this podcast is over.
This podcast. I decided to go Wednesday, and I immediately have regretted going to Wednesday.
Whoa.
I say whoa, right? Your chairman is a bit of a tight-pocketed individual because he gave me no money to spend in the transfer window.
Mr. Chansiri spent all his money on Carlos, so there's no money for Mr. Cope.
He's probably trying to get his money back from Bruce moving over. Well, I got zero money to spend, so I can't even bring Darren Fletcher to the club. Darren Fletcher. What an essay would have been to Sheffield Wednesday, but it's not been too bad so far. Like I had a pretty good pre-season, pretty much won all my games, and I've only gone about 5 or 6 games in. Not done too bad there.
Was it mid-table? A minute.
About mid-table, closer to relegation. There's playoffs.
Right.
But I'm not doing too bad. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, I can get money to spend in the winter transfer window, but we'll see. Outside of that, I've also been playing the Black Ops Cold War beta. They came out, I think, the last 2 weekends, or I know it's available this weekend.
Yeah, finishes tomorrow.
I think it was out last weekend as well. I can't be sure.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was, yeah. I'm quite enjoying it actually. I'm really liking this one. The guns feel quite nice to play. I mean, it's Call of Duty. 9 times out of 10, the actual gameplay is really nice. And the variety of maps is quite interesting. Like they've got this game mode, which is essentially just it was based off the classic war type in like some of the original Call of Duties, where there's one like area in the middle of the map that you got to capture from both teams, and depending on which team caught it, you would then force the other team back, and like a new point would come up to capture, essentially coming closer to like the other team in effect. And basically, like whoever captures like goes all the way one side wins, or if there's like they go into like an overtime if you don't do it within that time limit, and you essentially like whoever captures the middle one then wins. Been quite enjoying that. That's an interesting one. They've got a good idea for a map. I'm not sure if I really like it or not. It's one that's essentially based between like 3 battleships in effect. In like, I'm not sure where it is set in one of the oceans, but like both teams start on opposite battleships, and you have to like get to the middle one in effect and try and capture that and go through that. That's essentially interesting concepts involving like
Hang on, so you're jumping in the sea?
Yeah, you can jump in the sea, you can swim, you go underwater.
Oh, right. Okay.
Don't go too far underwater because there's sharks swimming around. But there's so you got little speed, not speedboats, but the
Jet ski.
jet ski. There we go. Couldn't think of the word then. It's just absolutely went out of my mind. So there's little jet skis you can get, and then there's smaller kind of minigun boats they can get on as well. They can shoot down. They're not too bad to actually take down if your team's coordinated and stuff. But it's pretty good. Quite enjoying it. And then they've got another one that they introduced this weekend's game mode that's called Dirty Bomb, 5-team, and then Dirty Bomb, where it's 10 teams of 4. You have to there's 5 bomb areas on this fairly big map. It's not quite like a Warzone map, but it's a fairly sized one. And you have to collect uranium around the map. That could be either in chests or killing opposite players. And you have to fill up these bombs with uranium to the point where you have to then detonate them. And if you detonate them, you get a point for your team. And so it's essentially whoever's team detonates the most bombs ends up winning it. It's quite an interesting concept. I had a game this morning. Merely went straight into the middle of a game with this team, and we were absolutely just killing everyone. We were dominating really.
Did you say 10 teams of 4?
Yeah, 10 teams of 4. So it's a 40. So it's a 40-man game, in fact.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be their biggest game mode because I don't think they're going to do. I don't think they're going to do what Modern Warfare did, where it was 60. They had a war game type where it was 64 teams. 64 teams, 64 players. With 64 teams, that'd be mental. So 64 player, where it was just a giant game of domination. In fact, I liked it, but there are too many snipers. Too many snipers on that game type to really go for it. So, but no, I really enjoy it. I'm really enjoying this one. I think it might be a good one. Plus, I mean, zombies for Black Ops. I always love zombies, so that's what I've been playing. Right, are we? Should we go on to?
Should we Hall of Fame?
Hall of Fame.
The Hoff. So now we move on to the Video Game Hall of Fame. This is where we take an in-depth look at a game of high quality or historical importance and induct it to our pantheon of games we feel deserves special recognition. Our inductee in this episode was released in 1996 for the PlayStation and subsequently got a 2002 remake on the GameCube. Developed and published by Capcom, it's Resident Evil.
I don't think he quite says it in the game like that, but yeah, sure.
Well, they should. I think
they should do it quite Dracula style. Resident Evil.
I have to say, I think this game has one of the most iconic moments in PlayStation 1 history, I think. That moment where you first come across the zombie.
Oh yeah. You
just walk around that blind corner, and then suddenly it moves that cutscene, doesn't it? Of the zombie just chomping your mate. And then just slowly turns around, staring at you. Very creepy. What's your impressions of this game? I mean, it certainly repopularized the whole zombie genre, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think I can't really think of any games prior that really that really put kind of I suppose zombies on the video game map in effect of them being a really creepy kind of enemy type to go against. Yeah, I'm coming up speechless because I don't really know what to really say about it that won't make me go kind of gushing and stuff because I mean
gush away.
I mean, as you can see, kind of I'm wearing a Resident Evil t-shirt especially for today. I don't know if I go for at least kind of my history with this game, it was just just the amount of. I'm really struggling to actually really know what to talk about it. Well, we'll go with the story at least. I'll kind of start with the story where it's you got this Stars Alpha team, who's sent out to the Arclay Mountains because there's trouble brewing in Little Old Raccoon City. There's been reports of people being eaten. And I mean, you can see like when you start the game, or the story, you've got kind of like the cutscenes where it's all kind of live action. And
yeah, can we just talk about these for a moment?
Yeah, sure.
They are so horrendously acted, I must say.
I was actually going to mention this. Resident Evil holds the Guinness World Record for the world's worst dialogue in video games.
Yep, I was going to mention it.
It was in 2008. It was entered into the video game edition of the Guinness World Records.
The voice acted in this game is horrendous. It really is. It's really quite something. However, to give it its credit, it does have possibly the best line ever in game.
Oh, okay.
I'm listening.
What's that then?
Guys, that was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
Oh god, that's
like that's a classic. That's a classic line in game.
It sounds classically terrible.
It will forever be remembered for that.
Oh
line.
god, the amount of just strange dialogue. Like humans just do not talk to each other like they do in Resident Evil. It's so weird.
So, I mean, I guess the interesting part of this game is the fact that you had two characters that you could choose from. I mean, that was a relatively unique thing. I mean, I don't think you got that in a lot of games. Well, in that era, anyway. So you could either play as Jill Valentine or Chris Redfield, obviously.
Yeah.
There's a lot of plot aspects that I just think, what are you doing? I have to say, it's like,
yeah.
So you've just come from outside where you've got all these stray zombie dogs going mental, chewing your mates, and then you've just been in another room and you've seen a zombie chewing one of your Stars mates, and suddenly you want to split up and just go your separate ways. It's just like, why? Why would you do? You just wouldn't. You just wouldn't.
You wouldn't think so, would you? Like common sense would think staying in groups would be
the best. And then Brad, what's Brad doing as well?
I don't know.
He just ups and leaves it. It's just like, what? Why? You could have easily picked him back up.
That's a hilarious line as well in the live action screenshot where like the helicopter's just flying off and you just got Chris kind of like reaching the skies like
go!
No, don't go! And then you see like it cuts to like all of them in the group and he's like slowly
and nobody else
loses his hand and just looks down. And it's like everyone's just staring up.
It was just a
like, oh yeah, it was gone.
Run for that house.
Jill, run for that house.
Yeah. Great FMV sequences, gotta love them. Do you remember the cover art for the game?
I remember. Yeah, I remember.
It's like a grey camouflage with a bloke standing there. And in the background. I have to say that cover art really hurts my eyes.
There's a lot going on in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't help for me. There's like in both bottom corners, there's like two tarantulas just kind of like. Argh!
I swear on this podcast, every single week we end up talking about spiders.
Spiders and Resident Evil. It's what it's all
this
about.
Doesn't help me. It's like no wonder I'm like anxious already.
There are a few aspects of the game which were very unique and I think added to the tension. I mean, I think the dialogue sometimes took you out of it, the way they were said. But things like the door openings. So it's like just suddenly goes to. I mean, I know they're just hiding a loading screen, but it's just a black screen with but it just add tension to it, doesn't it?
Well, that's it. I think this was just a little clever way of just adding a little more tension atmosphere to like, because you don't know what's going to be on the other side once you open the door, and you just you open the door and it's just a black screen. It really adds to like the atmosphere of the whole mansion.
There's things like the static camera angles as well. It's like you can't always see what's around the next corner. And inevitably, you'll just charge around a corner and you'll just have a zombie in your face.
Pretty much. Funnily enough, a little story on that, as I was doing a bit of research on this game. I need to bring it up, because I think the producer of the game was Tokoro Fujiwara. and he actually made a sort of a survival horror game on the Super Nintendo, which was called Sweet Home. And this, in effect, Resident Evil is like the spiritual successor to that game. And then, so there was that, and then the developer was Shinji Mikami. Initially, they came up with ideas of making Resident Evil first person for the PlayStation. So you'd go through the whole mansion as like a first person shooter. But then when they found out like that wasn't going to quite work out with the processing power of the PlayStation, I think they took homage of a previous game that's called Alone in the Dark. That was the first game to really utilize that like static camera angles for horror games. I think you can see like how much they took from it in Resident Evil, just like how much they use static camera angles for for pretty much everywhere to be able to really add to that tension and not knowing what's around the corner in effect. But I think they really nailed it in Resident Evil. I think they really did a good job with it.
What do you think to the aspect of the ink ribbons and saving with typewriters? Because that has another dynamic to it. It's like you didn't have infinite saves. You had to find these ink ribbons. And if you couldn't find one, then what? Just play it straight to the end.
Well, this is it.
The whole game in one sitting.
I mean, there's plenty of people who have like done no saving runs and can complete the game in like.
Yeah, I've been watching some recently. Did them in about 3 hours, and for most enemies, he just sliced them with a knife. So,
That or you just walk around them. There's a lot where you could just literally just dodge and that'd be it. I think at the time, I think it's a good idea for the ribbons though. Again, it's just something else that really adds to
the tension,
the atmosphere, the tension, the anxiety of have I got enough ink ribbons, and if not, do I risk doing what?
This is one of the big games for things like inventory management, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was massive for that. Also frustrating. Yeah,
inevitably you go miles throughout the mansion, and then you need an item. Because like, oh no, I left that in the chest. So then you've got to go back past all the enemies to then get the item again, to then go back. But yeah.
Yeah, I do think the idea of having the item chest as well linked is pretty good. I think if it would have made it really frustrating if you put items in one chest, go to
it stayed only in that chest.
And stayed in that chest. Like, oh, I've gone to the wrong chest.
Yeah, you got to memorize the chest.
That would have been absolutely infuriating if that was the thing.
And also, this was big on things like bullet conservation as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You couldn't just really go around just blasting it, could you?
I mean, you could, but I think you had to smart on like which ammo you really used up. Because like obviously zombies, probably best just to take them down with a pistol. Things like the hunters, you probably better off using a shotgun or magnum, and then obviously once you came to bosses, you probably want your grenade launcher at that point.
I did like those cutscenes that occasionally happened where it suddenly went to a first-person view of like one of the enemies.
Oh yeah. So one of the more famous ones for Resident Evil is probably the introduction to the hunters, where you just come from the courtyard. You've just done. I can't remember what you've just done, but you come back to the mansion. But then it cuts to a cutscene of like something is flying through where you just come from, and is following you, and has just opened the door. You've just gone in, so you're like, oh god, what is this? And then just this terrifying frog specimen of a beast is just like wanting to rip your head off. Like, oh god.
I like how all the zombies in the game seem to wear the same clothes as well.
Well,
black trousers, green shirt.
Well, they all raided the same shop before it all started.
I mean, it sort of makes sense when you get to the ones in the white lab coats and trousers.
Yeah.
I like how for those ones, the trousers they've all got like on the trouser legs. So it's like half short, half trousers.
That seems to be like a staple in zombies. There's always that zombie who's got like the one pant leg missing.
Yeah.
I know
Did
that
you
they're
read the?
living dead, but they could at least dress properly. Let's face it.
Yeah, exactly. I like the Keeper's Diary that you can come across in the. It's,
Oh, that's famous as well.
so
Yeah.
it covers a week or two in like the life of an employee there who ends up succumbing to the virus. And it says May 1998. Fever gone but itchy. Hungry and eat doggy food. Itchy, Scott K. Ugly face so kills him. Tasty. The next entry just
She's
says
just like itchy, tasty.
just says for itchy, tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good though, like how, and I think not just the Keeper's Diary. There's obviously other stuff around the mansion and laboratory that's sort of goes through the backstory of really what these people were living through when this virus obviously broke out. But I think obviously the Keeper's one is just probably the more famous one of just seeing how a guy who's been infected slowly starts turning into these zombies, like the mindset that it was going through. So terrifying.
I think this game's probably got one of the most well-known jump scares, I think, in gaming history, hasn't it?
Oh
It's
god.
the dog jumping through the
The
window.
dog corridor, yeah.
Yeah.
Hate that corridor.
Do you remember that first happening to you?
Yes, absolutely. Pooped my pants. Did not like it.
I mean, to be honest, I don't think there's a lot of actual jump scares in the game.
No,
Not how we know jump scares to be. I think there's only quite a few.
From what I've seen, it's more the atmosphere that builds up and the way the camera angles work that make it worse than it actually is.
Yeah, it's mainly like not. It's mainly that thing like not knowing what's around the corner. You go around the corner and there's something that we have a zombie there, but very few actual things jump out at you.
I think that's good as well. It's not. Go on, sorry.
The only other one that stands out to me is the you go and look at a desk and then suddenly one of them bursts out of a cupboard.
Well, I think that's the one of the Keeper's Diary because I think you read it.
Oh, it might be, yeah.
Is it? I think you read it. I think you read it, and then the Keeper comes out from the.
But, yeah. There's a lot of giant animals in it. So there's a big snake.
Very big snake.
Very big snake. That I think you have to kill with acid rounds, is it?
You don't have to. I mean, I killed it with. What did I kill it? I think I used a grenade launcher, but you could use an old pistol. It just takes much longer.
And then of course you got the ones you love, the giant spiders.
No.
Which then when you kill, they end up coming into small little tiny spiders as well.
Yeah.
Which you can just stand on.
Luckily they're not a threat, but yeah, they're not fun.
What's your thoughts on the timer?
Big mother bugger who doesn't want to die. No, to be fair, when you see when you get the cutscene of him being introduced, and you're like, Jesus, this guy is massive, and look at this absolute claws on this guy. Like, it's also weird though that he's got his heart outside. Like, you think it's like, well, that's an obvious weak point.
Yeah, it's the aiming system is just like automatic, isn't it? It's just like the whole aiming system is a bit weird.
Well, actually, in the original i6 one, the aiming system wasn't automatic. You've actually got to turn your character around to actually aim for.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't until the.
But it's like But it's like when it jumps up in the air, it does kind of aim it upwards as well, doesn't it? As long as you're facing in the right direction.
Yeah, if you're facing the right direction, yeah, you're fine.
But I like that end fight with that. It's like you're running around on the helipad, aren't you? Just running away from the rocket. And it seems like all your bullets are just doing nothing, and then Brad just chucks out that rocket launcher down to you. And it's just like one shot dead.
Brad conveniently comes back and has a rocket launcher for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing with it though, I can't recall whether the original did this or if it's something based on the remake. I think within harder difficulties, actually just swiping the rocket away. And so you
right.
continue to fight with him, and it's like, oh god, like if you're just playing normally and you complete it, and you're like, yeah, I know what I'm doing on hard, so I'll just shoot this rocket, and he just swipes, and you're like, oh no, why you do this?
And then we get another one of those telltale sequences at the end. He's sitting in the helicopter with Jill rested on Chris's shoulder. And then either you've got, is it Barry? Who is it?
Yeah,
Barry,
yeah. So
like,
yeah, he's
look at
there
his
just
gun.
clean
Or
his
you know,
gun.
Rebecca Chambers.
Rebecca Chambers, yeah.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on Rebecca Chambers? She only appears in Chris's story. Is that right? I don't remember her being in it.
Yeah, so I think one of the unique things that Resident Evil does is, depending on who you pick between Jill and Chris, their stories are very separate from one another. So with Jill, if you pick Jill, you run into the mansion and Chris is missing. So for the most of the story, you kind of work with Barry and keep on kind of bumping into each other through the mansion, trying to find out what's happening with Chris, and then Albert Wesker does a disappearing act after the first cutscene.
Yeah.
Which is
he doesn't look suspicious at all.
No, you're like, oh, this
Slicked
captain
blonde
who
hair,
was apparently going to stay in the
slick
main
blonde
hall.
hair, wears
Sunglasses.
indoors. It's like, what are you doing?
It's like perfect cliche villain.
Yeah.
So that's kind of Jill's story, and then with Chris's story, suddenly Barry's missing. So like you start with like with Jill going into the dining room, you kind of find the first zombie. But then I think when you come back, suddenly Jill's gone and Wesker. So Chris is very much left on his own to kind of figure out what's going on. And at some point, you end up bumping into Rebecca, who was part of the Bravo team, who had obviously mysteriously gone missing. So throughout Chris's story, it's kind of like you're with Rebecca trying to find out what's going on, what's happening. And then I think the endings for both Jill and Chris, I think, are slightly different. Both have essentially perfect endings where the end cutscene is Chris, Jill, there's Barry, there's Rebecca, you got everyone, you're flying off, mansion explodes. I think the worst ending you can get for both is essentially you either don't save the partner that you're working with throughout the game, and you don't also rescue the opposite from the prison cell. So if you play as Jill, you end up finding Chris towards the end, who's been locked up by someone. Don't know whether to spoil who that might be. You could do, or we could do now. Or obviously, if you play as Chris, you end up finding Jill. And like the worst ending is if your partner dies and you're opposite. Also, you don't end up rescuing the opposite. So obviously, like the mansion's gone up, and either Chris or Jill kind of looking there pretty depressed, depressed but relieved at the same time, because obviously they've just gone through a nightmare of a night. But I thought it was quite interesting as well for Resident Evil that you've got different endings depending on what you've done in the game. I'm not sure if I can't think of many other games that did that prior. There probably was. I think Sweet Home was something similar. But yeah, that was quite interesting how they did that. I mean, along with the original, there was obviously the remake that was made in 2002 for the GameCube, which is, I mean, highly regarded as probably the best remake of a game. I can't think of many that could really top it. And then that got brought to the Xbox 360 and PS3 in a HD remastered, and then subsequently went forward to the PS4 and Xbox One. And all this previous week, I've actually been streaming it on Twitch, because So I've technically completed the remake on PC once. What I had to do to complete that, though, is mod it in a way that the giant spider enemies didn't appear. So I got to kind of cleanly run through it. Cheat. I got to cleanly run through it without being terrified, so I was fine. But knowing that we were going to do Resident Evil as the Hall of Fame game, I wanted to see if I could try and complete it legitimately.
Face your fears.
Yeah, I wanted to face my fears and survive. But I also thought it would be cool to stream it as well, stream me playing it. I don't face cam at the moment just because the setup from the PlayStation is not brilliant. But I thought I'd go through it on stream, see how I'd feel, get into certain parts that I know that they appear in. I did get up to Wednesday where I got to the residence of the I suppose the pool area, the pool, billiards. If you don't quite know what I mean by pool, and decided that I still needed another 24 hours to prep myself until I could face my fears in effect. And I mean, I got through it. I got through that area, killed 2 spiders, which was good. Didn't get poisoned, which is a bonus. Ended up taking out 2 more on the same night in the I suppose the underground bit under the mansion, where unfortunately George Trevor's grave was. He ended up getting trapped at the end story, which is something that the remake does really well to expand on the original. Was the added like this story that they wanted to in the original of Lisa Trevor and like her family and how they helped build the Spencer Mansion, but ended up getting kind of screwed over by Spencer. And seeing that as well, adding so much more to that game, but keeping to the lore, is brilliant. I think they did a really good job with the remake. So I got through that, and then I think it was a Friday night. I ended up taking on the Black Tiger massive trench, which was absolutely terrifying for me.
You did well. You got straight through it.
I got through it. Yeah, I made plenty of noises which I couldn't repeat.
That's true. You did.
I made a lot of noises.
After we basically shouted at you, just get on with it.
I get on with it, like, okay, I'll go through with it. And like before you even seen it, I was like making all sorts of weird noises. But I got through it. I eventually got through it. I was absolutely shaking after I'd done it. I couldn't stop myself from like telling myself I was tense and all that. But I got through it, and then we did a little bit more. Ended up back in the mansion. So I'm going to continue that. I think Monday night. Continue going through that. We're going to get that completed. But I love everything Resident Evil, pretty much. Like the original game, the remake. I'd love to go through the original game.
Would you like to see the first one get remade in the same way that 2 and 3 have just been done? Or
the last 2 years.
Yeah. Or if there was going to do a remake, would you like to see it in the Resident Evil 7 engine? Or would you just not like seeing them?
I'm not sure. I think if they were to remake the first one again in the Resident Evil 7 engine, or the RE engine now, as they call it, because I think every game in Capcom use it now. I think it's even being used for. I think it's being used in Monster Hunter Rise for the Switch. Funnily enough, I think they made a mention to that. I think I'd like to see a Resident Evil 1 in that kind of, in like the third person aspect, because I mean,
so like the 2 and 3 remake.
Yeah, so like I won't lie. I mean, in 2019, I think the Resident Evil 2 remake was like my favorite game of the year. Like it was my game of the year because for them to remake that game, and I think a lot of people really just wanted Resident Evil 2 in the same remake aspect as what the original was done. So keep the static cameras, but build on what was there. Just add more to it. But how they did it for the remake, making it in, I suppose, in a Resident Evil 4 style, of it's over the top of the shoulder. But the atmosphere was so much darker. And they made cuts here and there. Fortunately, they got rid of the spiders, so I don't know what I'd be like if they did Resident Evil 2 remake with those spiders. I think they'd be even more terrifying than what they were. Well, I've just gone through. But
I think the first game would work well in the RE engine, because I think it's more claustrophobic than 2 and 3, isn't it? There's less open spaces. So I think that first-person view might work quite well in that first.
In a first person?
Yeah.
Ooh, if they did first person. Yeah.
Just 2 and 3, you've got more open environments, haven't you? So I guess that third-person aspect lends well to it.
The third person,
If the first one, in the first game, if it's first person, it still leaves that thing as you don't know what's around the corner.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I think
you would get from the static.
Yeah, I think what made Resident Evil 7 successful was that it kind of brought it back to its survival roots of being horror and less action. But it was the atmosphere as well was brilliant in Resident Evil 7. That Baker family estate was it captured that same feeling of like, what was that, sir?
Horrible.
Yes, horrible, terrifying. But it kept that original aspect of you don't know what's coming around the corner.
Yeah. Plus, it's more for like you identify more as a player, aren't you? Because you're looking through their eyes. So.
Well, I think that's what they originally intended Resident Evil 7 to be. That like there's a protagonist, but you could put yourself in his shoes. Like you can have your own story with him, in effect. Like he didn't really have that much backstory.
So if they remade the first one with that RE engine and they did it in VR.
No. I don't think I could, no.
Oh, we need to stream
if they kept the spiders, I don't think I could. That would be absolutely no. I don't want giant spiders running towards me, poking my eyes with their legs. I couldn't do it. If they got rid of the spiders, I could. If they didn't do the spiders, I'd be tempted to go through it. Like, I think that mansion alone itself would be absolutely terrifying. Plus, it would make that first zombie encounter really, really memorable. Like, to be able to do it in first person, just to see this zombie just gorging on you.
That'd be quite a sight, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine going down the dog corridor as well. So everything's fine and dandy. You walk around, and then suddenly you just see a behind you. And dog straight in your face.
Yeah. That's something that I appreciate actually in the remake, where when you go down a corridor for the first time, you're expecting the dogs to come out, and once you get like far enough, like the window cracks but doesn't go all the way through. So like they play on your expectations of like, oh, you thought this was going to happen.
Yeah, this is something they did with the other two remakes, wasn't it? 2 and 3, where like they took things you thought you knew about the older games and then just mixed them up a bit, and then just changed the timing of when things happened.
Yeah,
just to keep you on your toes, basically. That is good. That is good doing that. So I guess there we have it then. So Resident Evil into the Video Game Hall of Fame. Is that our first survival horror? I think it is it?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah. Our first horror game.
So, if you enjoyed listening to us, please consider tuning in next time. We release bi-weekly on Tuesdays. You can visit our website at jokingdolphin.com, where we post blogs and the Hall of Fame. Also, feel free to follow us on all social media platforms to continue the conversation. You can find Joking Dolphin on Facebook, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at Joking Dolphin. We're also on YouTube, where we post this very podcast. Until next time, thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.